state are opening as cold temperatures cover the region. And in Illinois, Chicago Public Schools is canceling classes today due to the extremely cold weather. All after-school programming, including athletic practices and games, are also canceled. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Sun Valley is where the problem is this morning on that 5 north at Lankershim. A crash with 3 of the right lanes blocked. A very busy drive from Glen Oaks Boulevard. Downey, it's going to be a top on the 5 north to the 605 transition. Right lane of that connector blocked with a crash. Loaded up here from Rosecrans La Mirada. Boyle Heights on the 5 north as you get up towards the 10 is where we do have a crash working with a busy drive from the 710. At Woodland Hills, a top now for the west side of the 101 at Topanga Canyon. This is the left lane blocked with a crash. That is tough in the drive as far back as White Oak leaving Encino.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers pulled away from Oklahoma City in the fourth quarter last night to win by 7, 27 points and 15 rebounds from Anthony Davis. LeBron had 25 points and 6 assists. OKC plays the Clippers tonight at Crypto.com. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver attended the game. He's in town for a press conference today at the Clippers' new arena, the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Silver is expected to announce that the NBA All-Star Game in 2026 will be played at the Intuit Dome. The Clippers move into their new home next season. The Chargers met Monday with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh at an undisclosed location outside of California. The Chargers are the first NFL team to meet with Harbaugh, who appears to be making plans to leave Michigan. USC quarterback Caleb Williams is entering the NFL draft. Williams is projected to be the number 1 pick. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Now everybody serenade the new faith of Kendrick Lamar. This is King Kendrick Lamar. King Kendrick, and I meant it, my point intended is raw. Fix your lenses, forensics would have told you Kendrick had killed it. Pretend it's a massacre, and the mass is upon us. And I mastered being the master at dodging your honor. In the chapter that read at 25, I will live dormant like 5 in the morning. The rain the spot while Kendrick's performing. And if they take everything, no, I got Compton, ain't no city quite like mine.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and we are thrilled to have you tuned into our program today. It's been a great show, the first couple hours, and we're going to take it a little higher, even in this hour. Enjoyed that conversation immensely with Lennox Yearwood from the Hip Hop Caucus. Had John Nichols today in our first hour from The Nation magazine, talking about breaking political news. A great show today. But this hour is only going to get a little better. So let me just tell you, let me give you a little taste of what you're about to hear. I'm about to have Miles play for you a trailer to the new Peacock original film called Bosco. It is based on the true story of Quante Bosco Adams, The trailer will give you a sense of what the film is about. I did that last hour, for that matter. I've been so excited to have Bosco back in the studio. Because when I saw Bosco some time ago, he was working on this project, and I'm so pleased that he got it done. He exec produced it. It is a Peacock original, so he obviously is in high cotton these days. Matter of fact, you couldn't even watch an NFL game, playoff game the other day. You didn't download Peacock. That's how big Peacock is. They dictating what NFL games, playoff games you get to watch. That same Peacock is the network that is now going to be premiering and broadcasting the film Bosco. Before we hear from Quante Bosco Adams, here now the trailer for the film, the Peacock original film Bosco.
We got some fresh fish, fellas!
Welcome to my jail, son. You're in here because they say you gotta pay. I'm in here to make sure you do. Congratulations, Adams. You are a father. Nobody told you? You're gonna spend the rest of your life in here. You ain't never gonna see that.
Truth is, I never thought about being a father.
He's a little mama's boy.
You know, you don't have to be like him, right?
But I just want to be there for my kid. If freedom's a state of mind, I guess my dream should be enough.
Just think about how much better your kid's gonna be without you around.
Bosco, when you gonna grow up?
I ain't content with dreaming. Humans are the greatest weakness in any security system. Prisons aren't inescapable. They just meant to feel that way.
Running the streets as we adapt to crime. Trap my body if they trap my mind.
Need your help?
I know the game, bro.
Down 23, it get deep. When you sleep, even the blind man can see.
You think reading's gonna save your ass?
No, I do not, sir. I'm straight G.
Have at it.
I'm so close to not only freedom, but also to being a real father.
I would like to help you.
I love that more than anything in the world.
I'm thinking about a master plan. I gotta make it back to the fan. I'm thinking about a master plan. I gotta make it back to the fan. I'm thinking about a master plan. I gotta make
You can only protect yourself by your choices.
I'm thinking about
my gosh.
a plan. I gotta make it back to the fan.
Quante Bosco Adams was sentenced to 35 years in federal prison for attempting, underline that word, underscore that word, attempting to possess marijuana. And then he went on to pull off one of the most ingenious prison breaks of modern times. Years after his capture, he escaped once again by teaching himself the law, firing his attorney, representing himself in federal court, and ultimately winning his freedom. It is quite the story. I'm pleased that this film got made. I am further pleased that it's going to be seen on February the 2nd. Premieres on the 2nd of February on the Peacock Network as a Peacock original. Bosco, you did it, man. Let me just start by saying congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
You want just tell me, we'll get to your story in a second, but tell me about the journey of getting this project done. What was that like? Was that easier or harder than breaking out of prison?
It was probably similar.
Okay.
Getting to complete a project like this, to pull it together, and then have it distributed on a major platform is, especially for a young black man, that's a big, tall task to pull off there. So, yeah, it was a lot of drama, a lot of hardship, a lot of obstacles, but same as breaking out of prison, it happened.
It happened. That it did. Tell me about Peacock and how that particular deal came to be. I'm a businessman, as you know, and I love the backstory. So you got all these platforms out there. Just give me, to the extent you can. I'm not saying tell your business, but how did you end up at Peacock? And they seem to be really embracing the project.
Yeah. So we got a sales company tied to the film. The sales company actually came on board before we started filming. Just the story and the cast that we were able to put together, the sales company was very excited about that, came on board, and took on a bunch of meetings once we completed the project, once we actually finished filming and post-production, started shopping it around, and Peacock was one of the companies that offered us the best deal.
So I want to underscore this. You put your money into this, you produced this project, and you did it without having a distributor initially.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's a leap of faith.
Yeah, all independently.
Yeah.
I was running around town begging, panhandling. Give me $10 on this movie, whatever you can put in, you know.
All right, that's how the project got made. Now you have to hear the backstory. His name is Quante Bosco Adams, and you're going to hear his story when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
COVID-19 renter protections are ending for City of Los Angeles tenants. Know your rights and these 3 facts. February 1st is the deadline to pay rental arrears for rent owed from October 1st, 2021 to January 31st, 2023. Residential tenants cannot be evicted without a reason or just cause. You have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice from the court. Learn more at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org. Be informed. Be protected, be at home.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right, yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, on low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
More of Tavis Smiley and Quante Bosco Adams, who has quite the amazing story. Okay, let me start with this. You grew up where?
Compton, South Los Angeles, all the Los Angeles area.
All right. Tell me about your childhood. We'll get to the story of how you ended up getting arrested for attempting to possess marijuana. But just give me a sense of your childhood and what that was like.
Childhood was that typical South Los Angeles childhood. Mm-hmm. You know, it was during the 80s and early 90s when crack pretty much predominated our communities. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were strung out. Gangs were on the rise. You know, a lot of gang-related violence happening then. I grew up in that culture, uncles, father, everybody involved. So I pretty much grew up in that lifestyle. Started getting in trouble at a young age. Started going to juvenile hall at the age of 13, and got caught up in the system.
Yeah. What's your assessment now? Jumping ahead, and we'll come back. All these years later, what's your assessment about the ways in which so many young people around this country end up being pulled in, being sucked in. They end up, how about I put it? They end up surrendering their life's chances before they know what their life's choices really are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You just get pulled in at such a young age like you did.
Yeah, I think there's an allure to it, and I don't know where to point the finger, but it seemed like that there's a system and a culture that actually shapes young minds in our community to make gangs and drugs and that lifestyle alluring. And, you know, sometimes you see it in rap videos and the music, different shows you see on TV and different things. Because when you're growing up, I think one thing that for me is what I realized later on is that I was searching for an identity and I wanted to be a part of something. And I think every young man wants to be a part of some type of organization. And you can't be a part of just any organization other than a gang. A gang is pretty much the only organization where there aren't stringent requirements. If you want to be on a football squad, you got to work out, you got to go to practice, you got to play good, you got to do all that, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to be in a gang, all you need to do is just be a zip-ass fool, and you could be a part of it. But somehow that culture has been glorified, and black people, young black men, have been caught up in that trap to where we're repeating that same cycle and getting caught up in the system of self-destruction. And I think a lot of it has been promoted to our communities.
Yeah. I'm going to ask two questions, and they may be the same questions. So I'll put both out there, and you weave it the way you will. You talked about how alluring this lifestyle is for young men. What was the allure for you? You said earlier you were sort of born and raised into this. Your whole family was a part of it, essentially. What was the allure for you? And tell me more about this search for your own identity, because that struck me when you said I was searching for my own identity.
Yeah, so like my father was absent most of my life as a young kid, and I grew up in a house with all women. So I was trying to find out who I am supposed to be in this world. And I didn't have that positive, strong role model to help me find that. And so the only way I could find that and identify that was by looking outside, looking at my uncles, looking at my cousins who were all involved in this lifestyle. And so for me, I started thinking and believing, well, is that who I'm supposed to be? You know, and a lot of it, I believe, goes back to the traumas of slavery. Like, we were stripped of our identity of who we were supposed to be. And so coming out of that, we're trying to find out what is our role here in America? Who are we supposed to be as young black men in America? And then came Superfly. You know what I'm saying? They made Superfly, you know, the most promising and successful black man in the world. So now we wanted to be like him. And the same thing with the gang culture. We started trying to, in searching for that identity, we started looking for it in the wrong places, and we were given this certain imagery of black people that really don't define who we are. And I was allured to trying to find my identity, and the only thing that I saw was what was happening in the ghetto. I didn't see anything else. So at a young age, I started believing, okay, this is who I'm supposed to be.
This is my destiny.
Yeah, this is my destiny. I'm supposed to, the greatest thing that I could be is a drug dealer in the hood. I didn't see anything beyond that. And it wasn't until I got arrested and I was in solitary confinement as a juvenile, and I started reading books and learning that there was more to black people than slavery and ghettos.
In a book.
In a book.
Whew, this is getting rich already. All right, let me just catch my breath here. That's a damning indictment on our culture. It is. Well, I'll leave that alone for now. I could go on and I could get off tangent talking about what that means. That you had so little options until you were in prison, in solitary confinement. Then you start reading. Then you realize there's a whole world out there of all kinds of bad black people who've done all kinds of amazing things. You just couldn't see that in the space that you were in at that present moment. I get it, but I'll digress on that for the moment. So let me just ask you. You said this didn't come to you until you were already arrested and in solitary confinement. Let's back up right quick. Watching my clock here. I want to manage this story, and there's a whole movie. They can see the whole thing, but I want to just tap into a few pieces of this. So tell me about the moment where this thing goes down, where you find yourself in harm's way and ultimately arrested for attempting, key phrase, T word, attempting to possess marijuana. Tell me the story, Bosco.
I started selling marijuana in St. Louis, was picking up a load of marijuana. The people who were delivering it turned out to be undercover federal agents.
So St. Louis, Missouri was allegedly in L.A., in Compton, to pick up a shipment.
Well, no, I traveled.
You traveled too?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you traveled to St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I traveled to St. Louis.
Got it.
And was there to pick up a load of marijuana and distribute it in St. Louis. And the people actually delivering the marijuana turned out to be undercover federal agents. And so I was arrested before I can get the marijuana. When I showed up on the spot and got the key to the van, I was arrested. And when I got arrested, found out that I had a child on the way. 3 weeks earlier, my girlfriend got pregnant. And so there I was in prison facing life without parole, and my child was about to enter the world.
Tell me why I keep using this word, attempted possession.
Because I never had it. I never had control over it. Possession is to have complete control over an item. I never had it.
Why do you, looking back on it, do you know why? Why do you think that you were arrested before you actually took possession? Was that a mistake on their part?
Nah, that's just how the federal system is.
Right.
With the war on drugs, the range is so broad. You know, just anybody associated in any type of way, even conspiracy, just talking about the idea of picking up some drugs and distributing it is a conspiracy charge. So if two people get together and they have the idea and the plan to actually be involved in any type of drug dealing, then that's conspiracy. You take any step forward, whether it's counting some money or putting money in the bag, then you go before a jury. The prosecutor going to say, well, yep, they were planning to buy drugs or they was planning to sell drugs. And here's the evidence. They started counting money. So these two conspired to possess and distribute whatever controlled substance. And
like something couldn't have happened, or you couldn't have changed your mind. They just
Conspiracy is once you have that agreement.
Got it.
Conspiracy is just an agreement between two people to break the law. Whether you actually go through with it or not, you're still getting the same amount of time, and that's how the federal system works when it comes to drugs. And ironically, drugs is the only conspiracy where you don't have to have a full out overt act, meaning you don't have to actually go out and do something.
Right.
You can just have the intent or do anything that can be inferred as you about to attempt to complete the actual act.
Let me ask you a question. You see already in my eyes where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Why do you think the law is written that particular way?
Well, I think it was written that way, and it came about during the war on drugs, particularly in the 80s when crack was out.
Ding, 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 ding. Here's your answer. They wrote the law that way to give themselves more leeway to catch these Negroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when the prison population started overflowing with blacks. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna stress this language.
Yeah.
And make it so broad and so flexible and so lenient that anywhere in this vicinity we can get you and lock you up. How did you process? Obviously, you knew pretty quickly. I was going to say, when did you know? Well, you know when they pulled their guns out. But how did you process that you were caught up in a sting operation when you realized, oh, my God, these guys are undercover federal agents?
Yeah.
How did you process that in that moment?
In the moment, it just hit me. Like, I just knew it. You have that intuition like something's not right.
Right.
And then sometimes the greed forces you to just keep going along with it. You get those signs and the hints that something's not right here.
Yeah.
And instead of pulling out, you just like, well, shit, there's much money on the line, you know, and you just keep going forward with it. But once it happened, before they pulled the guns out and I started seeing behavior, that's when I knew, like, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And before I can make a run or anything, agents swarm from everywhere.
Yeah. I think I heard you correctly. Prior to that moment, were you having feelings and visions and just, you know, thoughts that, you know, I need to get out of this?
Yeah.
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 But you just kept going. To your point, the greed just keeps you going.
The greed.
But you even before that incident, you were having these feelings like, I need to get out of this game, man.
Yeah, of course. Like,
yeah.
even before that, I was telling myself, you know, I need to get enough money and then start doing something differently.
Yeah. I suspect I haven't done any independent research on this, but I've talked to a number of people over the course of my career, and I suspect that every person who eventually gets caught will admit to you that there were many, many moments when they knew they needed to get out of the game, but they couldn't pull themselves out.
Yeah, you're going to get so many signs.
Yeah.
So many signs are going to come to you. And I think all of it is really just, you know, the universe trying to direct you where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't listen to those signs. And it takes that big sign of incarceration to actually sit us down and kind of give us more direction.
Yeah.
And everything turns out to happen the way that it's supposed to happen. I think it's just a matter of us finding a purpose in everything that happens to us.
You were what age when this thing went down in St. Louis?
I was 28.
28, okay. All right, so what happens next? So they pull out the guns, you realize you're busted, and what happens?
I'm placed in the back of the car, and I'm taken to jail. And once I get there, a couple of days later, I go for arraignment in front of a magistrate. Well, not arraignment, but a hearing in front of a magistrate, federal magistrate, and serve some documents, a complaint, and saying that I'm facing life without parole in federal prison.
Yeah. You obviously end up in federal prison. Just watching my time trying to advance this story. You end up in federal prison. You end up in federal prison where?
I was shipped all over it.
Right.
From Colorado, Victorville, USP Marion, USP Beaumont, all of the maximum security prisons. But before then, I was because I tried to escape.
Yeah.
But I was placed in detention first. Before I got actually convicted and sentenced, I was placed in the detention center. And when I was placed in there, I tried to escape. And I was caught. Then I was placed in solitary confinement.
Right. So escape was already in your blood already.
Yeah. Once I found out I had a child on the way.
Yeah.
Because I started thinking I didn't want to repeat the same cycle that my father repeated.
Yeah.
And the only way for me to get out of this was by escaping from prison.
To get to your baby.
To get to my child.
Yeah.
And so I tried to escape and got caught.
Yeah. So help me understand why were they moving you around so much to all the different places?
Well, in federal system, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Especially once I became known as an escape risk.
Yeah.
They would move me around a lot to make sure
to throw you off.
Exactly.
I got you. All right. This is getting good. So he's being moved around. And I'll set this up and we'll continue when we come forward. So you're moving around from place to place, but the place from which you eventually successfully escaped, which we'll get to that story in a moment, is where?
It was in Alton, Illinois. It was a secure facility where I was locked in a cell 24 hours a day, and they had a camera inside the cell to make sure that I wouldn't try to escape again.
Now, if that ain't a setup, I don't know what is. Bosco did that thing. He's in Illinois. He's in a cell. Solitary confinement. There's a camera on the cell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make sure that he does not do anything. And yet with a camera staring at him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in a very small solitary confinement cell, this Negro broke out. How did he do that? We'll talk about that when we come forward. You're listening to Quante Bosco Adams. He is the true story is of his life. The film is called Bosco. It is a Peacock original, premiering on Peacock on February the 2nd. But the rest of the story when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest. From the Black Information Network, the newest members of California's Hall of Fame include former Democratic Assembly Speaker Willie Brown Jr., who served as Speaker from 1980 to 1995. He was the first black man to hold that position. The Trailblazer went on to become mayor of San Francisco. He was succeeded by Gavin Newsom. School districts in North Georgia are making adjustments due to the weather threats. Around 20 school systems have called off classes or switched to remote learning today. Warming shelters around the state are opening as cold temperatures cover the region. And in Illinois, Chicago Public Schools is canceling classes today due to the extremely cold weather. All after-school programming, including athletic practices and games, are also canceled. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Sun Valley is where the problem is this morning on that 5 north at Lankershim. A crash with 3 of the right lanes blocked. A very busy drive from Glen Oaks Boulevard. Downey, it's going to be a top on the 5 north to the 605 transition. Right lane of that connector blocked with a crash. Loaded up here from Rosecrans La Mirada. Boyle Heights on the 5 north as you get up towards the 10 is where we do have a crash working with a busy drive from the 710. At Woodland Hills, a top now for the west side of the 101 at Topanga Canyon. This is the left lane blocked with a crash. That is tough in the drive as far back as White Oak leaving Encino.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers pulled away from Oklahoma City in the fourth quarter last night to win by 7, 27 points and 15 rebounds from Anthony Davis. LeBron had 25 points and 6 assists. OKC plays the Clippers tonight at Crypto.com. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver attended the game. He's in town for a press conference today at the Clippers' new arena, the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Silver is expected to announce that the NBA All-Star Game in 2026 will be played at the Intuit Dome. The Clippers move into their new home next season. The Chargers met Monday with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh at an undisclosed location outside of California. The Chargers are the first NFL team to meet with Harbaugh, who appears to be making plans to leave Michigan. USC quarterback Caleb Williams is entering the NFL draft. Williams is projected to be the number 1 pick. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
She's so smooth, so
I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Taco Bell just dropped the new Cravings Value Menu. Now you can get 10 items for $3 or less, which means you can get the food you want for the price you want. It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too. But in this case, it's a double-stacked taco from the new Cravings Value Menu. So basically, you can have your double-stacked taco and eat it too, which is a lot crunchier than cake. The new Cravings Value Menu is here. Get it at Taco Bell today. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for price and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Ew. Gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Skincare is self-care, and with daily beauty steals of 50% off during Ulta Beauty's Love Your Skin event, I can find everything I need to make loving my skin a daily practice, from brands like Osea, Lancome, and Tula. And I can shop weekly skin and wellness deals of 30% off more must-have brands. Plus, see what's new from brands like Bubble and in select stores, Sol de Janeiro and Ulla Henriksen. Hurry, event ends January 20th. Shop in store, online, or try pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful. Conditions apply.
He's rooting for everybody black. Everybody black. More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
The Peacock original film Bosco premieres on Peacock on February the 2nd, just in time for Black History Month. It is quite the story of one Quante Bosco Adams. You've been listening to his life growing up in South L.A. and in Compton, what he was up against and trying to find his own identity and his place in the world and all the various routes and journeys that he took trying to discover who he truly is. He's figured that out these days. We'll talk about that before we let you go. Thankfully, he's figured all that out now, but what a journey it was getting to him being the man that he is today. And by the way, I've met that baby that when I last saw you, she was with you.
Yeah.
So I've met the baby that he was trying to escape to get to. And she's doing well. But it's, again, just an amazing story of this desire to not be locked down, to get to his child, and to not make the same mistakes his father had made. So you are now, after being moved around from place to place to place, they know that you are, I won't say an escape artist, but a wannabe escape artist, because you tried to escape already to get to your baby. So they move you around to keep throwing you off your square, so you don't get too comfortable in your surroundings and settings where you can try to escape again. So they're playing offense. But you start playing a little defense, and while you were in solitary confinement, you start doing some work. Tell me about the work that you did to mastermind this escape.
Just what I would do is I would just observe everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would listen to the guards' footsteps. I would listen to noise that I would hear from a far distance. But originally, when I was placed in the cell, I thought I was trapped. I didn't think that I would ever be able to get out. I thought that.
But you were thinking about it, though.
Oh, I was thinking about it. I was definitely thinking about it.
What side? I want the audience. They will see this in the film. By the way, we'll get to him up at the cast a little bit later. It's an amazing cast. Tyrese Gibson's in the cast. Vivica Fox is in the cast. We'll talk about that a little bit later. A great soundtrack. Snoop and everybody's on the soundtrack. It's an amazing soundtrack. You're gonna love this film on Peacock February 2nd. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But give me a sense of the cell you're in. What size are we talking about here? What size is this room?
The cell was probably 6 feet by 8 feet.
So 6 by 8.
Yeah.
There's a camera on you all the time.
Yeah.
What's in the cell? A bed, toilet? What's in the cell?
Yeah, a metal bunk and a toilet and the sink.
And there's no wall anywhere. It's just this room.
Yeah, just
so there's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide behind.
No, nothing to hide behind.
Okay.
And the camera in the corner.
Okay.
Over the toilet.
Okay, tell me more.
That was able to pick up just about the entire room.
Okay.
But what I noticed is that right behind the camera, you had maybe a little small blind spot behind the camera. And so I decided I ain't going to tell them. They got to watch the movie.
But there was a little blind spot behind that toilet.
Yep.
Okay. That gives us a sense of the space that you were working in.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just. They will see the film. Let me ask you this though. You have seen, I'm sure, I've seen it more times than I can count. One of my favorite films. I love it. Shawshank Redemption.
Favorite, love it.
You love it too. All right. So two questions. Tell me first of all why you love Shawshank Redemption.
I love it because it was pretty strategic on how he was putting together the escape.
Andy Dufresne.
Yeah, Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
I love how he was able to just strategize, and he was playing a game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like. Chess is one of my favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think I would have ever pulled off an escape where I just knock out a guard and take off running. There was something about pulling off an ingenious escape that required me to think.
It's a caper. It's a caper.
Yeah, it's a caper.
Yeah.
Pull off the caper.
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I like most about Shawshank, and of course Morgan Freeman, him narrating it.
Yeah.
I think he actually made the film with his narration.
Yeah. Are there parallels between any parallels at all? Because Andy Dufresne was in solitary at one point, as you know. But are there any? I'm just curious. I'm trying to give people a sense of what they're going to see when they see your film. Are there any parallels at all between what we see in, say, Shawshank Redemption, or one of my also favorites, Escape from Alcatraz, Clint Eastwood? I love that film. Are there any parallels to any of these movies that we've seen before about these great prison escapes?
Yeah, it's definitely. There's a little bit, but I sure hate to compare myself to Shawshank. That's like a really big film. But this film is really big, and it's definitely a good film. And I think what makes this film so special is because it's a young black man and who's trying to get home to his daughter and pulls off an ingenious prison break, going head-to-head with the actual superintendent of the jail who was very zealously trying to make sure that I didn't escape.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was doing his thing to make sure that I stayed in there, and I was doing my thing to make sure I got out of there. So you're going to see this
tension.
Yeah, there's tension throughout the entire film between the guy playing me and the guy playing the actual warden of the jail.
How long were you in this particular facility? I'm trying to get a sense of how long you were studying. Again, we don't want to get they know what happens in the end, of course, and they'll see how exactly you did it in the actual project when they see it on February 2nd, again premiering on Peacock Network. But I'm just trying to get a sense of how long you were in this facility, how long you were studying. You talked earlier about all the things you were doing, all the observations you were making to plan and plot this caper out. How long were you plotting this?
I was close to a year. I would say about 9 months in that particular cell.
Yeah. In the Shawshank Redemption film, as I recall, there were a couple false starts for Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
Were there any false starts for you before you actually pulled it off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch of false starts at the previous jails.
But I'm asking at this that's funny. At this particular jail, my sense is if there had been a bunch of false starts and they had seen you trying this, you would never have pulled it off. They would have locked you down even worse.
I would have never been able to. Well, I ain't gonna say never because I've been pulling off some amazing stuff.
you always bet on Bosco, huh?
Yeah.
bet on Black, bet on Bosco.
Yeah.
He said I ain't gonna say I would never pull it off. But there weren't no false starts in this place.
Yes, I couldn't afford to have any false starts because I've made too many.
Right.
And, I thought it was over then, and one more mistake, who knows, they probably would have tied my ass up. And actually, after I actually did escape, the next time they locked me up, they put me inside of a cell right in the sheriff's station where the sheriff's booking area, and their desk was right there, so they could just all stood around watching me 24 hours a day.
So when they did catch you again and locked you down, you were like an animal in a zoo.
Yeah, you remember what was the movie, Andy Griffith?
Absolutely.
And you remember the drunk guy used to be in the cell all the time.
I watched it 2 nights ago. Yeah.
So imagine being in that cell, but you got 20 sheriff deputies sitting right out there with their eyes on you 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they made sure
while you sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. Houdini couldn't have got out of that. David Copperfield couldn't have got out of that.
I was working on something, you know.
Such is the spirit of freedom that exists in black folk. We all want to be free. He wanted to get to his baby. Our guest is Quante Bosco Adams. More with him when we come forward.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
When you use Bounce Dryer Sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce Dryer Sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water, pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the potty. Less is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vibe.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Quante Bosco Adams, who is the subject of the new film called Bosco, premiering February the 2nd on Peacock. It's a Peacock original. That's on the 2nd, but this spring, maybe around April, I haven't seen the exact date yet, maybe Bosco knows, but I know this spring, Morgan Freeman, who we mentioned earlier, the aforementioned Morgan Freeman, who was not just a star in The Shawshank Redemption, but as you know, was the narrator on that film. That same Morgan Freeman, through his production company, has produced a project called The Great Escape. It will be on the History Channel. Morgan Freeman goes inside a jail cell and through reenactments tells the story of how Bosco escaped from this federal prison in Illinois. So there's the film on February the 2nd on the Peacock network called Bosco. And then Morgan Freeman's project is called The Great Escape on the History Channel. He goes inside a cell and recounts, through reenactments, tells the story of how Bosco actually pulled this off, and it was, in fact, quite ingenious. Let's talk about the cast right quick. You got a pretty amazing cast. I know Tyrese is in it.
Yep.
Vivica Fox is in it. Who plays you?
Aubrey Joseph.
From
Cloak and Dagger.
Uh-huh.
The next Denzel.
Yeah, the next Denzel.
I'm telling you,
There
the
you
next
go.
Denzel.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is fire.
Yep.
Snoop.
French Montana, The Game, DDG, Davies, and a host of others.
Yeah.
Even got some Afro beats on there. I went to Nigeria and got some raw Afro beats, some fire songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the soundtrack is fire. An amazing cast. Most importantly, the cast has something to work with in the story that is being told. When you finally got a chance to see the final cut, you produced this thing, but when you saw the final cut, what did you make of what you had been able to pull off?
It's ironic. I don't get too excited,
Mm-hmm.
and when you live in that stuff every day,
Yeah.
and you finally get to that end point, it's a sense of relief,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of fulfillment. But I don't think you have that sense of excitement like the other people who've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And you find so many things to criticize because you always think, I could have done something
Yeah.
better. You find yourself messing with that thing for years if you don't just stop.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be a great story. The acting is superb, and in the end is everybody's crying at the end.
I could have started our conversation here. Let me ask you right quick, watching my clock here. Why it is, after having, to your point, lived this story, why did you even want to tell the story? Why did you want to do the film? What's the end game here?
After spending so much time in prison and going through all this, I had to give it meaning. I could have just looked at, okay, all the time I've been in prison and what I've been through is just a waste of life and it's just trauma, or I can take that and make something great of it and use this as an avenue, a vehicle, and a platform to inspire and show other people, particularly young black men from my community, that no matter what we go through, there's always a point where we can turn and go in a better direction. And so I wanted to be a source of inspiration to my community and be that person that they can look at and be like, if Bosco did it, then there's a possibility and a good chance that I can pull it off too. And it's all about the mindset that we have.
He is Quante Bosco Adams. Our remaining moments with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Seeking the truth. Speaking the truth. This is the Tavis Smiley Show.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful they saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA Can also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007 they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA Can believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus, plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
I told you earlier in preparing you for this conversation with Bosco a bit more of the story than we have time to get into, or frankly want to get into. I want you to see the film. But obviously he's sitting in this studio today with me live, which means that he's not here because he escaped again, because there'd be cops all over this building, and I wouldn't let him in anyway. I don't want to get banged up because they chasing Bosco. He's in here because when he escaped and got caught, you heard him say earlier, they put him in a cell like Andy Griffith, where the sheriffs could sit down and watch him, so he wasn't going nowhere again. But he learned the law, fired his legal team, represented himself in federal court. This ain't traffic court. This ain't small claims court. He represented himself, fired his lawyers, and defended himself in federal court, and made a case so strong that he got out permanently. And that is how Bosco is sitting in this studio today. That's the rest of the story you have to see in the film when it premieres again February 2nd on Peacock, a Peacock original that you will really want to see. And once again, The Great Escape is on the History Channel this spring, and Morgan Freeman narrates that, takes you inside the cell to tell you how Bosco pulled off one of these great escapes, this great caper. I've got 2.5 minutes left here. You wanted to get out, you said more than once, because you found out, early on you were going to be a father, and you didn't want to make the same mistake your father had made, so you wanted to get out to get to your baby. That baby is how old now?
19.
And how is she doing?
She's doing good.
She's doing good.
Yeah.
You guys got a good relationship?
Yeah, great relationship. I actually got full custody of her at the age of 15.
Right.
So we bonded.
Yeah. And has she seen the film?
She's seen it. She was seeing bits and pieces of it when we were still in production.
Yeah.
She hasn't looked at the final version yet.
Oh, okay. So I can't ask my question because I wanted to ask, what did she make of the final?
Yeah, to be honest with you, she's like, I'm just an average person to her.
Yeah.
You know? She don't even buy into none of that stuff. Like, I'm just dad.
But one thing, I'm laughing because you just dad to her, and every parent listening right now will appreciate this. Your kids will try you. They will try you. I'm guilty of that, having been a child. Every child at some point tries their parents. In her case, she has to know her father is pretty bright. If a Negro can break out of a federal prison, you might not want to pull nothing over his eyes. So she knows her daddy ain't no joke in that regard. Not many of us can say we have parents who escaped the federal prison and became their own lawyer. And went to federal court and found a loophole in the law and got themselves out.
And made a movie
about it. Exactly. I love it. His name is Quante Bosco Adams. Again, the film is called Bosco. Premieres February the 2nd on Peacock. And this spring, The Great Escape on the History Channel with Morgan Freeman as producer and narrator. You can't do much better than Morgan Freeman narrating something.
The voice of God.
That he is. Morgan Freeman narrates that on the History Channel this spring. Bosco, thank you for coming to see us. This is your first interview since the project's been completed.
Yeah.
You're going to do a whole bunch of interviews everywhere. You'll see Bosco everywhere promoting this film on Peacock, but he came here first, and I am humbled by that. I will see you again in the next few days and see you at the premiere, my friend.
Yep, for sure.
Congratulations, Bosco. That's our program for today. 3 hours, poof, gone just like that. Back here again tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until then, thanks for tuning in to the Tavis Smiley Show. And until next time, keep the faith.